What up, everybody? This is my Tulsa King episode 8 Adobe Walls breakdown, and we have Stacy Beale, the ATF agent, looking out for her boy Dwight, that she just doesn't want to admit that she has feelings for, but she's doing a lot to protect Dwight for someone she don't really have feelings for, so she has been doing her best to keep the FBI from looking into Dwight and keeping her own agency, the ATF, on the right task of looking after Cologne Waltrip and Black McAdam only. So at the beginning of the episode, we see the ATF agency raiding the bar of Cologne Waltrip and the Black McAdam, and they pick up all of Waltrip's crew except Waltrip and his lieutenant Robbie Truecoat, because that's who he's rolling with now, because his previous lieutenant or second in command, Carson Pike, is no longer with us after he sent him to take out Dwight, and that was a big fail on their part. So their crew is weakening, and now they have all been wrapped up in police custody except Truecoat and Waltrip, who are in the wind, but they do have warrants out for their arrest. So we see after this takes place, we got Waltrip. Now he's getting on that coke or whatever it looked like he doing, and paranoid now, he calls his last remaining resort, and he calls the local cops that he has in his back pocket, and he tells them to scoop up Dwight, make up something to charge him with, get him into custody so that Waltrip can get to him. Waltrip is out for blood against Dwight. So the thing is, Tyson and Dwight were already, prior to the crew getting swooped up by the whole Black McAdam getting swooped up by the cops, Tyson and Dwight were scooping out Waltrip's bar from afar, and they saw those same cops that had picked up Tyson a few episodes prior, and Tyson let Dwight know about it. So when they decided to pull over Tyson and Dwight, they already knew who they were, and Dwight threatens to blow their brains out, blow a hole in their chest the size of a, I don't remember what he said. They say a watermelon, and the cops figured working for Cologne Waltrip wasn't worth that risk, because he's threatening them, but they don't want, Dwight's threatening them right now, so they're just going to tell Cologne Waltrip they weren't able to find Dwight. So we get to it. Stacy Beale comes looking for Dwight, and she lets him know that the Black McAdam is in custody, and Waltrip and his lieutenant Robbie Truecoat got warrants out for their arrest. So Dwight just needs to leave it alone and don't worry about it. Let them be until they get arrested, and she is taking care of that situation for him. But what happens is Waltrip and Truecoat come around the corner on their motorcycles and start shooting at Dwight and Stacy Beale, and it leads to Truecoat being hit in the crossfire, and also Stacy Beale being hit as well. So the big question going into next week's episode, the season finale, is, will Stacy Beale survive that shooting? Because it's obvious Robbie Truecoat dropped dead on the spot, but Stacy Beale looked like she might have got shot in the shoulder. I couldn't really tell where she got shot at. So it's no telling if she's gonna survive this shootout. But we see the cops swoop in immediately right after the shootout, because it's in a very public place, so obviously they come swooping in. But Tyson comes in right before the police, and Dwight gives the gun that he had on him to Tyson to hide. And now we gotta keep in mind that Tyson ain't no really dude with a bunch of street sense and street smarts, so giving him a gun to hide may not be the best idea, because he might not know to throw it in the sewer, throw it in some water. He might not even know to wipe Dwight's fingerprints off of it or anything. So we don't even know what Tyson is going to do with this gun. So let's just hope he makes a good decision and doesn't get caught with this gun, because he was pulling out of there just as the cops arrived on the scene. So hopefully he gets out of it. And he was caught speeding out of there too. So let's just hope that Tyson doesn't get caught with this gun that Dwight used in this shootout. Either though it was self-defense again, at the same time, like I said, why Mitch and Dwight had to bury the body of Carson Pike, either though it was self-defense, was because they're both felons and are not allowed to be carrying a gun. And just carrying a gun alone for a felon can result in them going back to prison. So he definitely can't be connected with that shooting. He has to hope that Stacy Beale was the one who actually hit Robbie Trucco and not his gun, because they're gonna trace the ballistics or whatever you call it back to the gun, and if there's a second gun in that shootout, that's gonna be a whole nother mess. So hopefully Stacy Beale is the one who shot Trucco, and Tyson doesn't get caught with that weapon that Dwight had on him, or anybody identifies him as speeding away from the scene of the crime. So the question is, will Stacy Beale survive? What do we know about Stacy Beale is that she's a divorced alcoholic, an ATF agent who behind secretly has been sleeping with a mafia capo that her own agency is actually after, and she's been diverting them from him. We also know that she adopted a dog at the beginning of the season, and she slept with a random businessman. Other than Dwight, she slept with a random businessman. And I don't know, is any of this relevant? I don't know, because that random businessman, what was the significance of that if she's dead now? I mean, I don't understand it, but what's the purpose of the dog, the businessman? Is it just filling time, or is there going to be a significance behind it? I don't know. We will have to wait and see what happens with ATF agent Stacy Beale moving forward. But Dwight is furious. He says he's going to annihilate Cologne Waltrip. So anything that he was going to lay back and let Cologne Waltrip slide and just let the cops take care of it, oh no, that's over with now. He wants blood with Cologne Waltrip now. So the second main storyline from this particular episode is Pete's funeral. And at the beginning of Pete's funeral, we see Chicky. It was a really odd scene. I don't know if it was an editing error, or I don't know if they left it like this on purpose to try to leave us confused, but we see Chicky ask, he says, "Who is that?" And they say it's Louis Refidori's kid. So we're going to have to see who Louis Refidori is moving forward, and who his kid is, and what the point of them talking about this kid was. But the thing is, when they say you see Chicky ask, "Who is that?" and then someone says that's Louis Refidori's kid. Then it cuts back directly to Chicky saying you know him from around, talking about Dwight. So I don't understand. He literally cut directly from talking about you know him from around. You would think he was talking about Louis Refidori's kid, but he's literally the one who just asked who that was, and it cuts directly to him saying you know him from around, and he goes on to blame Dwight for causing Pete's death, blaming him for the heart attack, which we know wasn't no heart attack, but he's blamed it on Dwight, saying ever since he got out, he caused Pete so much stress, it caused him to have a heart attack. And we see that they have a plan to take Dwight out. They're going to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we have some guy who questions, some guy with some sense, who questions the plan of taking Dwight out. But Chicky attacks him right there at the funeral and tells everybody to go home afterwards. So Chicky has some intense hatred towards Dwight. So after that, we see Chicky. He calls Dwight and he pretends to be friendly and says that they're going to make amends, and he says that they're going to bury the hatchet. He even goes as far as saying he calling Dwight Uncle Dwight. So he's trying to play Dwight, but I'm sure Dwight is already aware of how things go in the mafia. You don't tell them when you're gonna whack someone. You don't come and say, man, I'm after you. You better watch your back. I'm coming for you. No. That's not how they do it in the mafia. They come with a smile. They come with a kiss. And they stab you right in the back or shoot you in the back of the head. That's how they do it in the mafia. They don't come with pure aggression and things like upfront aggression and things like that. They do it real slick style. But Dwight is a triple OG in the game. I mean, he's 75 years old, so surely he has his guards up. And we do see him hiring some bad guys from both Mitch and Jimmy, the weed connect supplier for Bodie and the weed shop. We see him getting a couple guys from both of these people. So moving forward, he's definitely going to have some protection going forward when the meeting takes place between the mafia and Dwight and crew. So another storyline we have, small storyline that we have moving forward, is Tyson moves out of his parents' house completely, and his dad gives him the final warning. And this is right before we see him actually getting involved in his first real crime, which is taking that weapon from Dwight and definitely leaving him as an accessory after the fact. I mean, we've seen him beat some people up before, but that was just nothing compared to what he just got himself involved in now. So we're gonna hope everything works out good for Tyson moving forward, and hopefully that his dad's warning was just a warning, and everything works out good for Tyson. I'd hate to see something bad happen to that kid. Another storyline that we might see moving forward is Tina, Dwight's daughter. She calls Dwight and says that they're really wanting to move down to Oklahoma, but Dwight at that point tells her to hold up because of the beef that was still ongoing with Waltrip at the time. So now that, well, Waltrip is a lone wolf now, but he has a lot of power and money, even though the ATF agent is trying to take away all his money. We'll see what happens with that storyline moving forward, if maybe in season 2 his daughter and his family move down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We also have another storyline that I believe is being set for season 2. It is Dwight meets Margaret, the horse ranch owner's ex-husband, because he's dating her now, and he is someone with a lot of money and power, and he threatens Dwight and lets Dwight know that he is not intimidated by him, and he has a lot of slick words to say to Dwight. So this could be a potential future op moving forward into season 2 as well. And another big storyline that we are left with in this episode is Armand gets into a argument with his wife at the dinner table because with everything going on, and Roxy showing up missing, she gets scared. She leaves Armand with an ultimatum that they are going to move out of Tulsa, Oklahoma to Boise, Idaho, or somewhere like that, or she is going to divorce him and take the kids away because she did not marry a criminal. So that is another storyline we have. What is Armand's choice going to be? Because he is definitely playing a big part. We don't really see what he's doing, but we know that he owes Dwight, I think, $350 a week working for him. And we also do know that he's staying out all hours of the night doing something now, because that was one of the things his wife was arguing with him about. So another storyline moving forward, and there you have it. That is my Tulsa King episode 8 breakdown. Leave your thoughts in the comments.